on occasion these last 20 years, and certainly within the last 16 months of jesianity, the question comes to me, James, what are you doing? And what are you doing it for? Who are you doing it for? Yesterday was the clearest answer that I've had yet. Well, maybe Paul and Cortez, Mark and Cortez have been studying Paul. Mark and Cortez, maybe those Amish men. But yesterday has not been a clearer answer. That doesn't mean the answer is correct, but there has not been a clearer answer. And what occurred to me over the years is, well, what did young James, called Jay at the time, what did young James need to encounter to have a chance of avoiding his 60-year detour away from life? And the answer to that theoretical question was, be that, James. Try and be that. It occurs to me that yesterday I met young James, although Austin was his name. And just to be clear, does yesterday evoke the thought that what James is trying to do is create more like James? No. Except in that James has always thought Jesus was the man to be. Jesus was the model. And it was, I don't know, it was crazy coming into town. And boy, after days out in cornfields, coming into a town was pretty dangerous, particularly after 6 hours of cycling. James is tired. The last thing he wants to do is look around at traffic. There's a fella over in the second lane, which is one of those yellow line on either side, probably even a dotted yellow line, so someone can, if we're going to be turning left into a store across the lane, they have a place to do it from. Well, for this maybe 60 seconds, turns out his name was Austin, was over in his SUV business, I think, painting maybe, relatively new, trying to get my attention. Thankfully, I didn't let my worst angels take over. And when it was clear he was trying to indicate he wanted to talk, stop and talk, I said Walmart. I was half a mile from the Walmart that was our destination for last night. And he understood. And 15 minutes later, when I arrived in the parking lot, his SUV arrived as well. And we spoke for 45 minutes, quite passionately, in the parking lot. And in retrospect, that was James. Austin has an infant son, as I recall, infant child, mid-20s, late 20s. As always in these encounters, almost always, I did most of the talking. And what I was saying, Austin had probably never heard before from another person. But it is almost certain to me it is what he has been hearing from his soul all along. as it has been for me. What I'm hearing is what I've been hearing from my soul all along. And now I'm listening to my soul again about the man Jesus. He enjoyed the picture I showed him of the old woman and the young woman. He hadn't seen it before. And the first one that he saw was the young woman. And I think really all I did was hold it in front of him. I had said, now what do you see? And when he said the young woman, I didn't retract it. And clever young man, he thought, well, there's a reason James is holding it here. Oh, an older woman. I see that too. And I said, that's the four Gospels for me. I can see what the church says about the four Gospels. I can see what Christianity says about the four Gospels. I can see what Christians say about the four Gospels. I can see it. And I can't see it at all. My soul has always said Jesus is not the son of some psychotic sky god. He's a man, the most perfect example of a human being, a healthy human being that Earth has ever seen. And therefore has the most joyful, abundant life, the healthiest life of anyone that we've ever seen. Whether he was in fact the man of the Gospels, or whether the Gospels are the product of 1,000 monkeys locked in a room with typewriters, doesn't make any difference to me. The man that comes off that page, to me, I understand why others see differently, but I can't see other than that. And probably 25 minutes into the conversation, we were talking about this specific subject I'm mentioning right now, and I said, if Jesus were right here, right now, Austin, and said, James, I'm sorry, man, you understood incorrectly. I am the son of that vengeful, egotistical, murderous, genocidal sky god. I would say, well, Jesus, dang. But you know what, Jesus? I'm so glad I misunderstood. Because understanding it the way I do, understanding it with the understanding that I honestly have, that understanding of you, I accept that it's a misunderstanding. That understanding of you has brought me back to life. I have joyful, abundant life in a world that otherwise is living hell for me. All our nastiness, all our hatefulness. So, thank you for letting me be misled. And by the way, Jesus, I love you. But now that I understand who you really are, I don't want to be with you for eternity. I don't care. That would be hell for me. Anything else would be less hell than that. Austin was so deeply moved by that. And I suppose that in particular is why young James is brought to mind. Because I realized at his being moved, deeply moved, that's me 60 years ago. That's me in the church 60 years ago. That's me thinking, wait a minute, Gandhi wasn't a Catholic, so Gandhi doesn't go to heaven? My dad married a second time, my dad being the most saintly person I've ever seen, is has committed a mortal sin and will not be in heaven? Boy, that's a place I don't want to be. I want to be where my dad is. I want to be where Gandhi is. And about as I was having those understandings at probably 16 or 17 years of age, those clarities, the church realized we got to get rid of this guy. And I realized I got to get out of here. At the time, I was the president of the Catholic Youth Organization in high school. Well, I have no idea what's going to come of this. But it affirms that the idea that James was given many years ago, James, there might be another you out there. What do you need to be for that person? What did young James need to encounter to avoid his 50 or 60 year detour? That James might have been a hope for others earlier. All of these thoughts, almost all of them, except for the young James idea, were shared with Austin. And they were so helpful to him. I don't think I did anything to create an illusion that if these ideas are correct, Austin, you've got a really easy life ahead of you. I wish I had thought to make that point, but he didn't take that from what we thought. I did say, things are bad now. So bad, I don't want to be here except to serve. And they're going to get much worse. Drawing attention to his infant child. Except the ones that master Jesus' way, not religion, Jesus' way, are going to be glad they're alive. They're going to be very glad they're alive. They're going to have joyful, abundant lives until empire kills them. Boy, it resonated with him. Anyway, what an affirmation. There are Marks out there. There are Austins out there. They're 1 in 100 million, but they're out there. And to protect their life, to regenerate their life, meaning soul, their humanity, to amplify and strengthen their life, that it might help others, let alone themselves. Boy, what a sacred opportunity.